Well met, heroes, and welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm Summer Championship live from Jönköping, Sweden, here at the DreamHack Summer venue. Not only is it the biggest LAN party that we've got going in the world, it also features the biggest prize pool that DreamHack Summer has ever had. There is a total prize pool of $500,000, and we see the best teams from all the various regions competing to get a piece of that. Now, of course, we only have 8 teams left in this tournament in the second group stage. New contestants have actually arrived. The top 1 seeds from the major regions are there: Team Naventic, MVP Black, Tempest, Dignitas, and E-Star Gaming from China. With me here at the desk, as always, the lovely Jay Howe, the reason why we're all wearing our Murden cosplays today. How are you doing, sir?
Fantastic, man. I'm absolutely excited. We talked about the hype all week long. The fact that there's been so much going on. We saw the upset. We've got the biggest names in Heroes here today. It's going to be a phenomenal 3 days.
Definitely. We couldn't have such an important event without the masterful Dreadnought himself. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited for the matchups today. We have really big names and finally top 8.
Right. Rightfully so. And James, Uncle James, I should call you, because your Dignitas boys all the way from GB have now arrived as well. How excited are you?
Very much so. Obviously, we had our first weekend's worth of festivities, and we had some good games, let's be fair, but I'm expecting the best games of Heroes of the Storm we've ever had so far, I think it's fair to say.
Definitely. I mean, compare that to the Spring Championship, which was amazing already. I think all the teams, not only the big names, but also these so-called dark horses, have stepped up their game tremendously. All, of course, we can see that pretty much with PBA. Please Buff Arthas from the Taiwanese region. They surprised a lot of people. But let's actually check out what the road to Summer Championship has actually been like. We see all the regions, they have sent the best of the best to compete here in DreamHack Summer at this wonderful stage, and so far the teams have not let us down. They showed good fights, and they showed that they were worthy of actually being here, just as our lovely cast. And I can't wait to get this show started, gentlemen. Who actually surprised you the most? Who are you looking the most forward to, Jay Howe?
I think one of the more surprising things was MVP Black, in the sense that they talked about that their power level wasn't anywhere near close to 100%, but they were absolutely dominant in their showing. They started off slow, a little bit more cautious, but their enemies were put out in dramatic fashion. I mean, they dominated their early competition.
Even unconventional picks. They picked Morales and they picked Trace during that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly the most common thing that you would see from them per se, but they were still able to make it look really, really good.
Absolutely. Dread, any final words?
I mean, I expect more dominance coming out of them up until probably the semifinals is where I think they might start seeing some challenges, but overall it's been very impressive to see them kind of get all the problems figured out, very small ones, and then now that they even feel like they're on the same page even better than when they got here.
Yeah, and of course, guys, if you have been following this tournament, you know, of course, what the first group stage looked like. It was very exciting, and we actually gathered all the highlights for you to know, so enjoy and rejoice. Hello and welcome everybody to the Heroes of the Storm Summer Championship, brought to you live from the Monster DreamHack Studios here in Stockholm, Sweden. And it's going to be an interesting one to see which team will be able to advance and which team has to go home.
And MVP Black loads up into the medevac, a masterclass shown here by MVP Black.
우리 팀적으로 좀 이제 슬슬 다시 맞기 시작한다라는 느낌이 좀 더 많이 들어서 그렇게 별 감흥은 없었지만 그냥 팀적으로
Right, those were some of the highlights from the first week. Now we're at the second group stage. Things are getting more and more serious because you're getting closer to pretty much making it all the way to the playoffs. Now, once again, to keep you guys updated, this is a double elimination bracket, so the losers from the first series will drop down and have another chance to actually make a comeback happen through the deciders match. Whereas if you win twice, you actually automatically through to the playoffs, the semifinals, and the grand finals. Now, was there something in Group 1 that excited you the most, that surprised you? Because we just have to mention PBA, and that basically tells the whole story.
I mean, they're definitely going to be the underdog. I mean, we
Yeah.
take a look at the group. I mean, it's actually stacked. I mean, stacked beyond belief. And I know that we're going to have an Eventic up soon, and we'll probably have a little bit of back and forth on that. But I think some of the things that we are looking at is the fact that PBA, if they make a surprise, I mean, it's going to be one of the biggest, most shocking upsets if it happens. And they
It would also make them
once.
the most hated teams in NA ever to ever exist on this planet, right?
I mean, I don't know. I definitely crushing the hopes and dreams of both North American teams. If they manage to do it, it will hurt. But at the same time, I agree that it would be very impressive if they do manage to do that. And everything they did in the first group stage was just phenomenal. The fact that they are the first team ever out of those regions to be able to make it to the top 8 is just great.
Yeah, that being said, I'm looking to see if they can actually tighten some of the nuts and bolts that they worked through during that group stage. Like, for example, going up against GFE, yeah, it was a bit close and hit and miss or whatever, but there were moments where you saw relatively odd camp control, say, for example, on some of the maps. So I'm looking to see if they've kind of just polished things is the best way to describe it, I would say.